Cameraman Grades, cameramangrades.com. How to film football, training, and professional consultations for camera operators, video coordinators, and sports video experts at all levels. Find us at cameramangrades.com or contact us directly at cameramangrades@gmail.com for your own sports video consultation. Currently looking for the best camera operator of the 2025 NFL season. These are the best of the best, and we're putting it to the test. Today we are looking at the Los Angeles Rams, Week 18 versus the Arizona Cardinals. Let's just jump right into it. Great. Awesome start to this game. Let's go. I really like just the straight pan over. Excellent work. Perfect setup. Zooming out at the pace that it needs to the point where the receiver catches the ball and then zooms back in. Can't do it much better than that. Yep. Some movement before the play and zero reaction to that. Oh, that was such a good setup. Okay, zero reaction to the motion prior to the play, which is fantastic. No reason to, right? They had the right setup and it did not change anything, so they left it as is, but man, that looked good. Decent. Okay, if I could see anything in this, I'd just say maybe coming right to left a little bit to give some more space behind the safeties as opposed to behind the quarterback. See how they use that space though. Yeah. Okay, and the ball's out. And the ball's up. And they're down. Wow. Fantastic work. Really thought they used the extra space behind the quarterback well once the play developed. So, all right. Fantastic setup here. Yes. Run recognition coming back in. Excellent job. Wow. Great start. And wow, a little bit of motion. Now, this time they had to adjust, right? Top to bottom, adjusting, quick pass, and fantastic work. Sky cam moving out of the way there. All right, motion, straight ahead. Looks good. Looks really, really good. Okay, Rams. What a great start. No movement on the special teams. Kicking the field goal, putting points on the board. I like it. 4th and 3. 3-0 Rams. It's a good start. Kick. Okay, now this time they zoomed out. All right. Hold on a second. So, I liked the first kickoff that they cut the kicker out. I know some special teams coaches are going to be asking to include the kicker, but they didn't do that either. They zoomed out with the kicker and then dropped him, right? So you can either do one or the other, right? You're either zooming out to keep the kicker, and then here he comes back into the play. But you're either keeping the kicker in the shot or you're not, right? If you're going to drop him anyways, then you'd rather keep a tight shot on the other 21 guys on the field. Right, so right here, instead of zooming out to keep the kicker in for that first 2 steps, right, now we've got an extra 20 yards behind the defenders running down the field. You can just cut that part of it out, and then now here comes the kicker, right? This is the shot you want from the beginning to the end, right? This is a pretty decent shot, and now the kicker is involved again because look at him booking it down the field. I love it, right? But if you're going to keep him in the shot, you got to keep him in the shot. If you're not, then then just go ahead and drop him immediately, and don't zoom out to keep him in there. All right. Awesome. Perfect. So good. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Out a little bit wider here. Here towards the end. Right here, you've got guys at the bottom of the screen, and then a bunch of extra stuff at the top, right? So you could tighten this up and get extra space along the backside. You can definitely tighten it up, but it's a decent shot. They're very usable still. Okay. Awesome. Moving on. Nice. What a shot. What a setup. Pull back. Very good. All right. Moving on. Okay, got space behind the quarterback. Still more space behind the quarterback. Still more space behind the quarterback. Okay. All right. So to start with, 7 or 8 yards behind the quarterback and less than that behind the safeties, it would make sense to just cut this down a little bit and add it to the other side, right? And then if not, allow the quarterback to at least drop back into that space. Okay. And then here, as the ball's released, at that point you don't have to continue to zoom out, because that's just going to cause more space here and here. Let's just put it in the box just to check. Okay. The box here. Okay. So this is a referee, and this is a referee, right? I often say, keep the safety, drop the refs, right? There's times when the safety is going to run right off your screen. If you've still got the ref in the shot, then that doesn't make any sense. But that's not the case here. They zoomed out a little wider to be able to keep everybody in, and you can see that right there. They've got everybody in the shot, and it's about 85%, which is decent. All right. It's pretty good. Good stuff, Rams. Yes. Fantastic setup. Looks awesome. Very good. Perfect. Okay. Awesome job. I love it. Wow. Nice job. Really stayed with everybody well on that play. All right. Oh! Blitz coming up the middle. Perfectly played defense. I love that. Very nice job. Okay. Yeah. About 2/3 of the defense. Pressing top to bottom. All right. Let's see if we can tighten this up at all. Right in about, so still zooming out here is going to just add more space, and then that puts us into this range. Okay, where we were at 85% before, Yeah, this is the same box. I'm going to shrink this down from there. Okay, still got a guy at the top of the screen here. Got a guy at the bottom of the screen. You know, and let's just say, just for comfort's sake, we're going to give him a little more extra space. Okay, they're pushing closer to 70% on this one. So this is about as wide as I've seen from this filmer today. Doesn't mean it's going to be the widest that they're going to get the entire game, but you know, from what I've seen so far, this is it. All right. All right, motion doesn't change anything. Did not affect the frame. That's pretty good. I saw that there was a penalty on that. Makes sense. It was right there on film. Awesome setup here to start. Perfect. Wow. Okay, let's just talk about the difference here. When you see the zoom out to exactly the point where it needs to and then stops, right? That's the point. Like, that's, I mean, that's a filmer instinct right there. He really sees the rollout and then stops immediately. Rollout, scramble, you know, scrambles out and then immediately stops zooming. That's really good. Okay, the motion does change the framing a little bit, right? Not much, but just enough. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's good stuff. What a great start. Okay. It's decent. I really like the pace that they zoom out with the players. Seems to be pretty spot on every step along the way so far. No movement on the field goal. 4th and 18. They kicked it. Kickoff. All right, so we've seen it both ways now with the kickoff. All right, let's see how they're going to do it. Okay, just cut the kicker out and zoom over. Interesting. So we're two times they cut the kicker out, and one time they included the kicker just for the first 2 steps and then cut him out after that. So might be just like a leftover lingering habit that they used to do or something like that. All right, awesome. Quarterback rollout. Okay, it's kind of the X factor. You see all the plays go the other direction or whatever, and then all of a sudden the quarterback's bringing it back this way. A major change to, you know, the way other plays go compared to how you would film them going, you know, a run going away from you, and all of a sudden the quarterback's still got the ball and he's coming towards you. It's completely different, but that didn't phase this filmer one bit. It's really good. A lot of changes took place in that, and filmer did a great job of staying up with it and not making any knee-jerk reactions. Okay, they're right about 5 yards in both directions here. A little bit of zoom out, and the run recognition coming back in. Pass. Pretty good. It's really very, very usable footage, every single play. Yeah. Awesome job. Nakua. Oh, It didn't count it. Backed him up. Okay. Well, here we go again, right? Like the setup. Nice. Excellent job. Run recognition makes a huge difference, right? Because everything's going the opposite direction. If you're starting by thinking, I'm just gonna, as soon as the ball snapped, I'm gonna zoom out. Not necessarily, right? Just, hold on a second. Let's see what actually happens on the field. And run recognition, as soon as that run hits, changes everything. That play right there, that was not a run, that was a pass, and it was perfect. Okay. A little bit of pull out on a run here, and then zoom back in. Safety was dropping, and then the quarterback rollout. Awesome. Once they verified that the quarterback does not have the ball, and there's plenty of ways to do that, they zoomed back in. Okay, safety changing the frame a bit, and then coming back in. Awesome. Wow. Okay. Perfect. Okay, let's just check this framing. You got 3 yards, 2 yards behind the running back, and 2 yards behind the safety. 4 yards total. And I can see every number, every name on the back of the jerseys. Right. I can see the defensive front. I can see the safeties. I can see the motion from the tight end. And now he's rolling around and throwing the ball. And I can see all of that so perfectly. Wow. Rams. Let's go. Ram it. Here we go. Oh, motion changed. That was a shift. 2 guys in motion at the same time. And no. No. Something's going on there. All right, we'll just say no play on that one. All right. Reset. Everybody reset. Okay, sometimes you see some zooming in and out in between plays. A lot of times they go to the scoreboard in between plays, and you'll see those at times, in the shot. Most of the times it's cut out, but all right, pulling back, nice. Okay, decent. It's pretty good. Right. There's a lot of changes happening right before the play there, and they did a decent job of staying with it. All right, so they're gonna have to kick the field goal. Excellent. Okay, kickoffs. 2 kickoffs to 1 on dropping the kicker. Let's see what he does this time. Zooming out, then zooming back in, but did not make any effort in keeping the kicker in that one. So that makes sense. Okay. Ooh, get tight. Let's go. Hey, I can get tighter on here. Let's do that. Because I can keep up with everybody, and I can recognize when it's a run, and I can zoom in even farther. Because that's what's going to need to happen. There's 22 guys in that shot. That's so perfect. Again, let's get tighter. Hey, the motion changed the framing. I can actually go in tighter because of that, and I can keep up with everybody. Oh, I like it. Nice job. Quarterback hit the edge just for a moment on that. Just basically stepped on the edge of the frame. And that's, something you want to avoid. You don't want the quarterback to ever step out of the frame. But it really did not affect anything on that play. Okay, apparently that was not a fumble. They're going to keep the ball. Yes? Okay, so here. I'm looking at the backside of the safety, and they're gaining space behind the safety. You can see there's more than 5 yards there, more than, more than we've seen usually. But you can see top to bottom, they're actually pressing the edges on both angles, both sides there. A little bit extra space there, and this guy's running off the bottom. But at that point, the ball was away, so it makes sense that you would zoom in at that point, right? Once the ball is released from the quarterback's hands, you're going to want to zoom in to see where he's throwing it to. This receiver is not getting the ball at this point, so him stepping off the frame, not a huge deal. Nice work. Okay, let's see the framing on this one. Okay, yes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's a lot of players running a lot of directions in a very fast manner, right? Okay, a little bit of movement out of the field goal is a little tighter on this one. I like the other ones better, but still really good. Okay, kickoff. Zooming out again, zooming back in. Okay. That works. Nice job. Awesome. Well, that's really good. See what happens here. Okay, change the frame. Motioning out that direction. Not much though, right? Just barely. Just enough, and just enough zooming to accommodate it. Nice work. Same situation here. Almost identical the other side of the field, right? Okay. Wow. Nice. Awesome. All right. So let's just talk about this real quick, because this is a common play that we're seeing from the Rams over and over again here. The handoff and then the rollout, quarterback rolling out the other direction, right? So this filmer is seeing this all day long in practice. He knows there's a play that comes off of this, right? And so he's watching for it. So the thing we can watch for is this defensive end coming off the edge, right? If he's coming down, he's not coming out towards the quarterback. He's watching for that, right? Well, he's getting blown off the line completely. But if he's coming across and then coming down the line, then he's seeing this indication that the ball is actually handed off. If he comes here and gets to this spot and then starts running after the quarterback, he's seeing that the quarterback has the ball. He keys on that all week long. He knows that that's his responsibility, right? So that's what this filmer is seeing every single play, and he's watching for it and doing an excellent job at keeping that in mind while also making sure that he's staying tight on the run. Man, this is all really, really good. They're throwing everything at him at this point, and covering every single situation that I've seen so far really well. Yep. Oh no. Not a catch, I guess. Okay. All right. Wow. Really good, useful footage. Alright, here we go again. Nice. Tight setup. Does the motion change anything? No. So the filmer doesn't change anything. Right? It's pretty good. Awesome. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. Let's just talk about this real quick before we move on to anything else. Just look at how tight this is. Bam. Got 2 yards behind the quarterback, 2 yards behind the safety. How about the rest of the play? Still 2 yards. Still, 3 yards? Okay. 1 yard and 2 yards. No yards and 2 yards. Okay, 2 yards total of extra space, right? That's 99.5% of the screen is being used. Wow. That's just wow. Okay, that's where it's at. That's why I say these are the best of the best filmers in the league. In what this is, in filming football games, NFL filmers, when they're doing it correctly, nobody can beat them. Okay. There's always room for improvement, and there's always room for finding what you're doing well and replicating it over and over and over again. Awesome. Okay, top to bottom, couldn't get any tighter than that. Saw everything I needed to on that play, and have not missed a beat in this entire game, really. So good. Wow. Nice move. I mean, I could do that, but I just choose not to. All right. Run recognition. Excellent. Nice. Fantastic. Nice work. Okay. Fourth and 2. I'm going to say that they're going to pass. What? Oh my goodness. Woo! Fantastic. All right. Great job of recognizing that play was not going forward with the run. You know, it was a quick fake to the runner and then going up top. And the filmer saw it the whole way, right? Probably sees it every day in practice, knew it was coming, right? And there it was. I had no foreknowledge of that play. I may have watched this game last season, but probably not. Didn't think that was coming. I see 1,000 plays, a week, and was not expecting that. I just kind of saw the setup and figured that's where they were going with it. All right. Solid. All right. Okay. So let's pause it. Let's just go back here. All right. Snap of the ball. Let's just take a look. at the 2/3, right? So 2/3 of the frame. I like to put the the ball on this line if possible. And it's usually pretty accurate. It's a guideline, right? You're not going to necessarily adhere to that all the time. But the reason for doing that is now instead of having all this extra space behind the quarterback, which we're not expecting the ball going that direction. I mean, you might have a whole lot of confidence in your defense to be just pushing the offense backwards the entire game, right? But I'm just going to expect that the offense can move the ball forward, and that's pretty consistent throughout the league. Um, putting the edge of the frame, right here on this hash at the 20-yard line, that would make sense, right? And then having a little bit of space for the quarterback to drop back, maybe end around, right? And then you have all this extra space on this side, right? We currently have, 10, 12, 11, 11, 12 yards behind the quarterback and less than that behind the safety. And I know for a fact that the safety's job is to drop back to start. So, of course, we'd want to account for that, right? Figure that this is going to happen instead of this, right? If the quarterback ends up at the, the 13-yard line here, I will publicly go out and apologize for even mentioning that you shouldn't have that much space back there. Let's see what happens. No, he drops back to the 20. It's like, okay. All right. Awesome job. Fantastic. Sack. Okay. Wow. Just a string of excellence from the Rams filmer. And I can see it play by play, right? You can see the X after X after X in that excellent column, right? Just a tower of perfection. It's pretty good. Let's keep it going. Framed it out. Okay. All right. Stop. Let's go back. All right. Back to what I said before about the 2/3. There it is. Right? Right there on the 2/3 line. That's where it should be. Right? And guess what? You got, 5 yards behind the quarterback? Let's see if he uses it. Is he going to drop back into that space? Yeah. Just 2-step drop. Right? All right. And then they zoomed out. Yeah, of course they did. Look, they got a back coming out of the backfield. Got a guy going to the top of the frame. Right here. This is, top to bottom, everybody you need to see, and all of your space goes to the defense. That makes a ton of sense. And then zooming in on the play, of course. Looks great. Wow. Let's go. Yep. Top to bottom, filling that frame. The Rams are spreading, defensive secondary out completely at that point. Going sideline to sideline. They're rushing up. They're going to spike the ball for the half and then get the field goal team out there. So, all right. Nice job. You had plenty of time to see that happen. Oh, not kicking the field goal. We're going to go ahead and line up and chuck the ball down the field. There we go. Let's go. All right. So they had 10 seconds on the clock, and, they had time for one more play. So there you go. I was wrong. 4th and 2. Perfect setup. Perfect play. Okay. Great job. Third quarter. Halftime's over. Zooming out. Zooming back in. Nice. Look at this. Okay. So, I'm always saying that just if you're dropping the kicker out of the shot, that you can just pan straight over. But look at this. By the time the ball actually lands, they're in the right formation, right? You really wouldn't have to zoom out, but even at that, with the zoom out that they did, it did not affect this point. You know, this is exactly where I'm calling for them to be at this point in the play. Awesome. Awesome. Fantastic. Next up, Rams get the ball to start the second half. Cutting off the head. Okay. Thanks. Nice job. No play. Next up, wow. I'm really impressed. Very, very impressed by this footage. Okay, that one could tighten up a little bit. 4th and 16, they're going to punt. Special teams. Punts away. Don't know where that ball went unless you're peeking over the camera. And there it is. Wow. Wow. Okay. So zooming out, you know, keeping all these guys in the shot. I'm seeing all this blocking going on, and then where's the ball? Well, here's the returner, and then how much space behind him? Like 3 yards maybe at the most, and I'm still seeing all this blocking taking place. But you can't do that any better than that. That is as good as you can do on a punt. I've tried, you know, not at the NFL level, not with these guys going this speed, but at any level, trying to do that with a punt is a challenge. Whoa, whoa! Nice job. Picked up the blitz. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, all right. All right. So the motion changed, you know, the framing of that just a little bit. And they zoomed in to get tight on it, and then immediately came right back out, right? Which is fantastic. The fact that they, you know, can zoom in, be zooming one direction, and then immediately say, nope. You know, I wanted to tighten up my frame a little bit, but with everybody running as fast as they are right now, oh my, wow, awesome. Okay. You can't do that any better. Again, you have to zoom out with the gunners running down the field anyway. Um, and so he was already zooming out at the point where he saw that fake take place. So it all should just fit neatly into the frame that you already have. And then the Cardinals just come down the field and score a touchdown. So, all right. But, you know, from a filming perspective, that entire series was really, really good. And you think you're getting the ball back, and now you're just gave up a score. So, see what happens next. Zooming across, panning across, zooming out just a little bit. Wow. Okay. Let's just talk about this guy here at the bottom for a second. All right, I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, oh, he's gonna cut that guy off. He's cutting him off. No, he knows that that guy's running horizontally across the field, right? He did cut off his feet for a second, but he knew it was coming. He knew what he was about to do. I like it. Okay. Awesome. Okay, kept it within 5 yards on both sides, behind the quarterback, behind the safety. Quarterback rolls out and throws the ball behind the running back to start, and then the quarterback takes that space. Right, top to bottom, couldn't go any tighter because the Rams are pressing receivers to the sidelines play after play, and that affects your ability to get up any tighter. If everybody's running vertical down the field like this and not really going sideline to sideline, you can stay a little tighter on it. All right, not have so much space behind the quarterback and the safety. All right. So on this one, the framing looks fine. What I would say is you've got two referees back here that I don't really care about. I'd rather put the ball right behind the punter. Unless things go disastrously wrong for the punt team, it's not going anywhere behind him. So you can really put this right on the punter's butt if you need to. You can certainly make it a little bit of space, but in doing that, where's the punter lined up? At the 17, right? So if he's at 17, that's right here, right? You had to zoom over that far just to get to this point. What if you just started there and then just zoomed out with everybody? You'd have a much tighter shot throughout the entire play. And overall, this is decent footage, but that's one thing where I would recommend. Okay. Let's see where they go from here. Excellent. Top to bottom. Couldn't get any tighter than that. Sideline to sideline. Nice. Okay. It's pretty good. Quarterback filled the extra space behind. If you're going to have extra space behind the quarterback, is he going to fill that space immediately? Right now, you have extra space behind the quarterback because of the running back, and they're going to swap positions right there. Okay. Awesome. Run recognition. Look at that safety. Okay. Run recognition. Why does it matter? Well, look at this dude. Just watch what he does. Yeah. Normally I'm backing up with him. He's flying up at 1,000 miles per hour. Well, that'll change what your plan was for the play. I was planning on zooming out. I can't do that now. Zooming out. Oh, that was looking really good, right? Yeah, they did it. It's their fault. No, somebody did it. They'll figure it out. Okay, but the filmer did a fantastic job. Awesome. Great job. Perfect setup. 5 yards total. And awesome. Okay. Fantastic. Kept the quarterback in the shot just to make sure he's not up to something back there. Look at it. He's up to something again. Passing. Okay. Awesome. So perfect. Five yards, both directions. Run recognition, immediate. So good. Okay, different kind of setup here. Single back. He caught that. Let's go. Fantastic. All right. First and goal. Probably going to be a tighter setup than the last time because of the formation, right? But is it going to be a run? Probably. Statistically, no, it's a pass. Okay. Maybe I should check first and goal line statistics for passing. Maybe it's not as much of a probability as I was expecting because I was thinking run, right? Now, here at the bottom of the screen, we're still in the passing mode here, right? If you're going to be in that close, you got to be ready for, if you're expecting a pass coming, you got to be able to keep up with all the receivers as they run out into their routes. So in that way, the receiver coming off the ball just a little bit at the bottom, but the ball is going at the top of the screen anyway. So I'd still like to see that receiver for another half a second to a second before going up to find the guy scoring a touchdown at the top. So. The screen just went blank for a second. Yep. Really good. Awesome. Okay. It's almost to the end of the third quarter at this point. I know I kind of blanked out the score and stuff like that. I'm trying to focus more on what the cameraman is doing as opposed to what's going on with the game itself. Play by play, I'm trying to isolate the framing of it and whether or not they're keeping up with everybody and whether or not that makes sense for any given situation. Right, so I kind of blacked all that out, but we're coming up on the end of the third quarter, and currently grading out as high as anything I've seen in the NFL for this game in particular. So as long as they can limit the amount of mistakes, through the rest of this quarter and the fourth quarter, if there's no more mistakes going through here, I would expect that this could be the highest grade that I'm finding in everything I've done so far. If I had moves like that, I do. Okay. There's that motion again. All right. Pressing the bottom of the frame, adjusting accordingly. I like how quickly they adjusted this time around. Last time they tried to make it kind of smooth and keep it cool. What? Okay. Score a touchdown now. Tried to slow it down and make sure that they were not making too quick of an adjustment. This time, the guy kind of went off the frame for a second while he was in motion, and this time they're like, nope, not letting that happen again, right? I'm going to fix it immediately. I'm going to make sure that he does not cross out of my frame this time, and I'm going to zoom out to make sure that I've got him, much faster this time around. That's, fixing mistakes from the last play, right? Well, almost exactly the last play They ran the same type of motion 2 plays in a row, right? So say, did I do everything I could the way I wanted to the last play? And is there anything I can do to fix it for this play? Sweet. Wow, what a game, right? All right, so this receiver, in the same vein, the same token, this receiver drops out the bottom here, and now we've got space across the top that we don't have players in, and we've got a player whose feet drop out the bottom. With a little stutter step with it, but look at the quarterback on this edge, just staying with it perfectly, right? And here, zooming out a little farther to make sure that you're not having guys run off the field, off the frame makes a ton of sense, right? But right here, I definitely want to see this guy and his feet. And because look at that stutter step, right? He does zoom out just enough to see this stutter, right? What if his feet were cut off during that, right? What if his stutter was right here and I couldn't see his feet? That would be an issue for any receiver. It'd be like, oh man, you should have saw my footwork on that stutter step. I did. It was awesome, right? But to make sure that you keep his feet in the shot the entire time. So on that one, just kind of have to give a negative on that one, right? Missed opportunity. Okay, did I miss something? We're way back. I guess that didn't count. All right. Must have missed a holding penalty or something. I'm not sure what happened. I thought we were going down the field. It's decent. So good. Okay, let's just pause it and just go to a frame, right? They're within 5 yards both directions. That's fine. Okay, quarterback's taking that space. Now we're down to 2 yards. We're down to maybe 3 to 4 yards here. We're still at 5 yards here. And then here, we're within 3 yards, 3 yards. Yeah. It's really, really good. 4th and 16. Okay, so I've said it before about the punter, right? This is much tighter on the backside of the punter, right? And why is that? Probably because of the angle, right? Before it was towards the middle of the field, so the punter was down here, and they just didn't think about the fact that they had an extra whatever. If you were to add that same amount of space behind this side, you're going to see to the back of the end zone, and it's a pretty good indicator as a filmer. You're like, wait a second, I don't need to see out the back of the end zone for this, right? He's standing at the goal line, so let's cut that down. So that's kind of a mental indicator to the filmer. Hey, I don't need to be that far back. Well, if you didn't need to on this one, apply that same rationale to the last punt when I was saying that we can cut that down, right? Sweet. Love it. Fantastic. Great punt, by the way. Great hang time. I can measure the hang time. I can measure the distance, all from the fact that this punter got it all perfectly in the shot. And I can also look at the other 21 guys on the field and say, were they doing their job? Did they block, as well as they could? Were the gunners, running down the field as fast as possible? Was there anything they could do to get off of the guy that was guarding them and trying to block them, right? So there it is. Awesome. Sweet. Framing side to side, within 5 yards both directions, nice and tight. And look at this. Okay, no knee-jerk reactions. Yeah, the guy's running. Let's see all the blocks. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see the running back and all the people around him blocking everybody and see how far this goes. I love it. 1 yard behind the running back. Okay, and look at that. Quarterback rolls out into that space just so perfectly. Okay, let's just look at the line of scrimmage here, or okay, well, there's a line of scrimmage, but the line where this framing is behind the running back. Okay, is at the hash mark on the 30-yard line. Okay, right there, and he zoomed out to the 31 to make sure he keeps the quarterback who's rolling out in the frame. Right? I don't even know if he needed to do that, but he did. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Look at that. You definitely want to make sure he keeps the quarterback in within the yard. Okay? That's having the right framing. This is 22 guys in the shot and almost zero zooming out and zero movement aside from that. That's having the correct framing to start and then making no knee-jerk reactions. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh, you threw it away? Oh, okay, never mind. Well, Fomer did it awesome. Obviously the defense, was able to guard enough to keep them from, converting on that rollout. But wow, what a play from that Fomer. Just fantastic. Yes. I'll just go ahead and score the next play. Love it. Awesome. I'm making a note of play 126 because that was fantastic. At the 10:50 mark in quarter 4 of week 18 for the Los Angeles Rams, we're saying you can't do it any better than that, and we're just going to count that as the best. Okay? These are the best of the best. Perfect. Pan over, zero zooming. Saw everything. So good. All right. Offsides. No play. False start. Really good. So good. You can find the point where the ball is released, and you can know that the receivers are not going to continue to expand out like that, and this filmer just immediately stops, and zooms back in, knowing that the ball's away and that everybody's going to be condensing on that spot. So they're going to punt it, right? Space behind the punter, zooms over, zooms back in, and again, they keep less space behind the returner, 2 to 3 yards behind the returner, and like 7 to 8 yards behind the punter. Normally it's the other way around because you don't know where the returner is until you find him, right? So in this case, they nailed it as far as finding the returner and landing right on it. This is so good. Okay, it's a little wider than I've seen from a lot of the plays here, but still really good footage and very useful for coaches and players to be able to evaluate what they're doing. I'm imagining that these coaches and players are very, very pleased with their ability to see the action on the field. this is really, really useful footage. This is the most useful coaching tool possible, is seeing what you're doing well and what you can improve on. And this is what I'm doing for filmers, is pointing these exact things out for them to say, what are you doing well and what can you improve on? Pointing to these moments that are so well done and saying, if we could do this every play, across the league, every single filmer, at every level, right? Not just the NFL. What if everybody was getting footage like this? Okay. Quick handoff to the motion man. Runs him out of bounds. Okay. Fantastic. It's pretty good. A little extra space behind the safety. Didn't need it. You can cut it down, but it's the best possible option is to make sure that you're keeping up with all these guys. Okay, top to bottom, it's about as tight as you can get there. 3rd and 1. Okay. They're gonna keep the ball. Looks like it. All right, let me just see here. Okay. So here, zooming out at this point, I would say there's really nobody indicating that you would need to. You definitely want to keep up with the quarterback and just in case he's holding the ball and doing something sneaky. But I'm looking at the safety. Safety's rushing up. There's no receivers, breaking loose anywhere. So I'm just kind of looking at this formation, this situation, and saying this is probably just a straight run right up to the gut, right? So just a minor critique, something that you can look at, something to look for. The less you can move your camera, the less you can zoom out and all that, the better. Oh, look at that rollout. So perfectly framed. And oh my goodness. Let's go. What a shot. All right. Same exact situation. I can go back to play 126 at 10:50 in the 4th quarter, and I can watch this exact same play out. Might not have been the same formation, might not have been the same receiver set, but as far as the rollout from the quarterback and what the filmer did to keep the receivers in the shot and nail it perfectly, from my perspective, that's the exact same play, right? From a filmer's perspective, it does not matter what else is happening here. This is the exact thing that we saw just 20 plays ago, right? And they nailed it twice, right? On what could cause a lot of filmers a major issue in the fact that the play looked like it was going somewhere else and now it's going back the other direction. It catches people off guard. Not the Rams filmer. Not this one. Okay? Tight. Is it a run straight ahead? If it is, you don't have to move anything. Nope. It's a pass. Pulling back to make sure everybody stays in the shot. They did so perfectly. No knee-jerk reactions. Smooth. Slow. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast, right? And they nailed it. Extra point. Awesome. Okay, just for context, that puts this game at 37-20. Rams take the lead. I mean, they've had the lead. They marched down the field and put an extra 7 on the board, right? So that's going to change the what the filmer might expect from the Cardinals at this point in the game, right? Expect a lot of passing and just kind of have that in the back of your head that we're probably not ground and pound at this point, They're going to need to catch up and make some significant strides here. Passing on first down. Okay. Scramble, run out of bounds. Decent. Nice job. Could have been tighter, yeah. Okay, quarterback fills that space. Pretty good. Okay, passing on first down, 2nd and 3. Okay, hurry up offense, right? They're not spending a whole lot of time at the line of scrimmage. It's perfect. Right, this game's kind of out of hand as far as being a 3-score game, and it's not necessarily a rush, but they're not wasting any time. Okay, across the middle. Okay. Defense is probably going to give them the middle as much as possible to keep the clock running. Cut down the outside, cut down the sidelines. Pretty typical. All right. And the filmers just kind of figure on, yep, there's another pass, right? So 3rd and 2. Run right up the middle, get your 2 yards, get your first down so that you can keep the ball going. All right. And then back to passing, right? So, and then there you go. Not giving them the sidelines, keeping the clock moving. It's just kind of working the clock down one play at a time, but expecting pass all the way, right? And the occasional draw just to get the first down. Yep. Two-minute warning. 3rd and 3. Empty set. Right. Started with a single back and then went motion to empty. Quarterback, filled that space really well. The filmer is doing a great job of keeping up with all these guys. Obviously, they're running, receivers everywhere, right? And certainly trying to get them to the sidelines. 4th and 3, didn't make it. So, guess what's up? Victory, right? Victory set. These are easy wins for a filmer, right? So let's just stack up a bunch of excellent, excellent shots. Set it up. Don't do anything with it. Yep. Okay. Just stacking points on top of points for excellent footage for the filmer. This should be the last one. We're at 39 seconds, so great job from the Rams filmer. Just to put one more in the excellent column, for which I've been doing this entire time, seems like. Obviously, there's a couple of plays that got out a little wider, and just a couple of plays where there were some people that maybe ran off the screen, or we could have gotten much tighter to be able to stay with everything. But whew, as far as plays go, this was really impressive. Out of 156 plays, 154 of them were positive. That's a 99% score. 81% of those were excellent, to the point where I could say, everybody could be doing this, perfectly every single play just like this. And that puts the score to 106.86. I got to go back and check my notes to see if that's the highest rating I've seen yet, but it's in the running, okay, if not the highest. Very, very, very impressive job for the Los Angeles Rams in Week 18. So great job, filmer. Looking to see a whole lot more of that moving forward, and best of luck.